I am really ready to be done with school. I mean, honestly, I'm really done. I've spent too much time in the educational system to keep going. I've had it up to here is what the old people would say probably. I've had it up to here with the school stuff. And it's true. I mean, I've been in school since I was 5 years old. And I'm 24 now, which means I've spent nearly 20 years knowing what it's like to be a student. That's too long. And the good part about this is that for 12 of those years anyway, it didn't really cost me anything. But for the next 20 years, it's going to cost me something. It's going to cost me a lot. And I'm not okay with that. And the reason I bring this up in this blog post is because it pertains directly to my entire week. I just got back from Cuba. And I got back, I had my classes picked beforehand, but when I get back, I've discovered that there are certain classes that aren't offered all year. And I have to take those now if I want to graduate in April. Unfortunately, one of those classes is full. It's not going to come back and be available to take again until the fall, which is unacceptable. So I'm still going to try to work a way around that, but we'll see. But the point that gets me thinking this right now is that I've spent the last 3 days mixing around classes. I've been dropping some and picking some up and then dropping them again, and I haven't bought any books. I bought one. That's not true. I bought one book. It was $30, and I know it's a class that I'm going to keep, so I bought it. But I haven't really known what classes I was going to have until right now. And this entire time I'm juggling classes, all the classes I'm juggling are general education requirements that, for whatever reason, were satisfied before, but in this school they're not satisfied. And that was boggling my mind. And my real query that I have right now, my real mess of a situation I have right now is that I took a geology class 3 years ago that satisfied the general education requirement for physical sciences. It teaches you physical science. Is exactly what it does. I know about the 3 types of rocks, all right? I'm quite familiar with sedimentary, igneous, metamorphic rocks and the fact that some of them are mixed in. I can identify limestone from sandstone. I know how all this stuff works. I understand weather. I understand tectonic plates and volcanoes and why there are earthquakes in someplace else. I get all that stuff, and I've learned this stuff already. But I learned it in a class that was labeled Geology for Teachers. The class was labeled this way, but in the syllabus of the class, which I've just obtained, and in the actual curriculum of the class, it doesn't teach anything about teaching other people. It says for teachers, but it's not teaching you how to teach geology, which is how the title is worded. Instead, the class was completely about teaching you all these things about geology so that you had the foundation level education so that you'd be able to teach it later. You understand the material first, and then you learn how to teach the material. And that course was about getting the knowledge of the material. But Grand Valley isn't seeing that. So what they did is I have to have a life science, a physical science, and one of those two has to have a lab, or a place where you go hands-on and experiment with things, which is fine. The Geology for Teachers course at Grand Rapids Community College has the lab, and I did a whole bunch of cool stuff. I fiddled with calcite, and I watched rocks fizz as I put other stuff on them, but Grand Valley has that class satisfying the lab requirement, but it doesn't satisfy the physical science requirement because of the title. So tomorrow, I have to go and write a formal request for them to deeply look at this and actually look at it rather than just saying, nope, it's not in the book, and have them accept this course as satisfying a requirement. I paid a lot of money for these classes, which filled requirements in other places, but they aren't filling requirements in the university. And this is just general education. I mean, this semester also, I have to have an arts fulfillment, which, again, I thought I fulfilled it, but in one university, but apparently doesn't do it in Grand Rapids or in Grand Valley. So I'm enrolled in a theater course, Theater 101, right? And we're not going to act, we're not going to do anything. We just have to analyze theater, understand how it works and its history, and we're going to go watch plays and write things, our thoughts on them and stuff. It's a really blow-off class, right? And I have to take it, and I have to spend $1,300 to sit in the classroom because Grand Valley wants me to do that. So I'm frustrated because I think the education system is messing with me. I mean, their justification for the school to want me to take these classes, their justification is it creates a well-rounded liberal education. Well-rounded, right? And that's fine and all. But do I need, the point is need, do I need a well-rounded liberal education in the eyes of the university to be successful in my future career? I challenge that. I don't think you need it. I honestly don't believe it's necessary for me to, say, understand the elements in the periodic table, to have a general understanding of evolution, to really get down and dirty and understand tectonic plates and know how stars are formed and how old the Earth is. All that stuff, that's nice. It's nice to know it. Not necessary for film majors. Not necessary for arts majors. Not necessary at all. But the college requires I take it, and they require I spend the money to do it. Now, I've talked to a lot of professors. And they agree with, they don't necessarily agree with me, but they are saying the same things that I'm saying now. They haven't said, I agree with you, Charlie, but they're saying the same things I'm saying. They believe the system is flawed. They don't like the general education requirements. They don't like how the university has structured their programs. I have had one professor say that it's not really a waste of my time, but it's orchestrated in such a way that it pulls money out of students. It's orchestrated in a way to draw money out of students. I get it. The university's broke. I understand. Grand Valley's broke. But you know what? It's your own fault. You're building a whole big building. You're renovating things that shouldn't be renovated and it's not necessary. It's your own fault you're broke. But it's orchestrated in a way that's pulling money out of students. I mean, that's what I see. Why else is there a 7th edition book in the bookstore that cost $180 to have when the 5th edition was perfectly fine? It had maybe a couple typos. Maybe it didn't have any typos. Maybe you just reworded it on purpose. And the 5th edition would have taught the students just fine, and that's $90. But the 4th edition would have done just the same way, and that's $60. And the 3rd edition is not even in print anymore, and it's probably $10 on eBay, but you're not going to use that because it's old. It's the 6th edition. It has different pictures in it. It doesn't matter. Stop pulling money out of students. Educate your students and stop pulling money out of them in weird ways. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm frustrated because of that. I needed to vent. That's my vlog post for today. Leave a comment if you like. That's cool. Maybe you have something to contribute to this. Maybe you're equally as frustrated, or maybe you're, I don't know, maybe your mom's an administrator of a college and you have a side of the story that I haven't seen yet. I'd really like to hear it. Thanks.